Clause 11.
Members, I propose a question that clause 11 be part of the bill. Move your amendment, Chair.
Honorable Chair, clause 11 refers to an amendment on country-by-country reporting that requires companies, whether it's a surrogate or subsidiary or parent company, and this amendment is seeking now to require the submission of the country-by-country report, since it is the same, to be provided, and it's provided under subsection 2, that it be in the same section. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Well, members, I propose a question that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I put the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 11 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
Members, I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Oh, members, your chairman, you got amendment to this.
Yes, Honorable Chair, clause 12 regards to advance pricing agreement, where you're saying where the taxpayer in an issue with the advance price agreement has provided false information, then that advance price agreement will be declared to be void. Additionally, Honorable Chair, this particular amendment is seeking to provide for timeline in which the Commissioner General, by extension, the Cabinet Secretary, will provide regulations on the enactment of this particular clause 12 in terms of timelines, giving them 6 months to gazette regulations on the enactment of these advance price agreements. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. It's an advanced pricing. Members, I propose the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Honorable Wunda, 1 minute.
Chair, as much as the amendment to subsection 5, subclause 5, is timely and important, I think the Cabinet Secretaries must also act in good faith, knowing the importance and urgency of some of these, the need to operationalize laws. We do not have to put for them specific timelines. It should naturally flow. Probably with the neatness, probably could even do that in the Statutory Instrument Act, so that all the Cabinet Secretaries know that within a certain period of time, once a law is in place, we must do this. Because otherwise, within 6 months, it's going to appear in all the laws of this country. All the laws are going to be known as within 6 months. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just wanted to, in an earlier clause, the chairman reported that regulations were supposed to be done in 6 months and they were not done. I don't know whether really we have been, in terms of the time frame, is this realistic? Because I don't think really we need to put time and then they cannot implement. I think we need to get assurance that at the end of the day, Mr. Chairman, that then when we say 6 months, we get regulations in 6 months or whatever needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable Chair, this particular amendment has been necessitated by, again, the experience, for example, with significant economic presence tax, where the ministry requires us to make particular amendments to the law, but then they take all their time to issue regulations. And therefore, we are requiring them to have a timeline in which they must issue those particular regulations. And I think this is, even if it might be monotonous to repeat them in all our respective laws, but it's important, where we require the executive to act on their part, to give them timelines in which they are supposed to act, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Oh, members, I now put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 12 was amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 13 and 14.
All members, I propose a question that clauses 13 and 14 be part of the bill. And because there's no amendment to them, I now put the question that clauses 13 and 14 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
All members, I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Remember, Honorable Chair, you got an amendment to this.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 15 be amended as the order paper. This amendment is to provide that the Commissioner should respond to an application for change of accounting year within 3 months and not 6 months in order to remove inefficiencies. Honorable Chair, again, as I explained in the previous 2 clauses, we are trying to make sure that the commissioner is also responsible for timelines. So where, for example, that a taxpayer has applied for changing their financial year, we're reducing their time from the time in which they are supposed to respond from 6 months to 3 months. And Honorable Chair, what you're going to see consistent in the entire amendments that you're doing, where the commissioner does not respond, then we are saying that that particular application by the taxpayer shall be deemed to have been accepted, so that we also give leeway to the taxpayer and not just power to the commissioner, so that we also make sure that our tax system is not just fair, but it's also transparent and equitable, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Members, I now propose the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that clause 15 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
Members, I propose the question that clause 16 be part of the bill. With amendments by the chairperson of the committee and the leader of majority. Chairperson.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 16 be amended as per the order paper. This, Honorable Chair, is amending section 35(1)A, which currently exempts only specific commissions paid by resident air operators to non-resident agents for ticket sales. This broad scope leads to taxation of essential foreign expertise, even when such services are complete and available locally. Additionally, this particular amendment is provided for taxation of withdrawals rather than winning in the case of betting. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Members, I propose a question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the chair. I then put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 16 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
Honourable members, I propose a question that clause 17 be part of the bill. Chair, you got an amendment to this. But before you go to that, the leader of majority's amendment to clause 16 then falls because we carried the committee's amendment. So clause 17, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 17 be amended as per the order paper. As you remember, Honorable Chair, the amendments we did on the Tax Procedures Act in December and the Tax Amendment Act in December brought various taxable deductions for pay as you earn. So where we said we deduct the taxable allowances before we calculate for pay as you earn. However, Honorable Chair, we have taxpayers have reported to us during public participation that we have quite a number of employers who are not allowing those expenses as tax allowable. And therefore, they are leaving now the employed, especially the employed Kenyans, to now claim that when they are filing their income tax at the end of the year. So therefore, this amendment is seeking to compel the taxpayer to allow for tax deduction those tax allowable expenses for pay as you earn. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Oh, members, I propose a question that clause 17 be amended as proposed by the chair. Honorable Omboko.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to support that amendment as the chair puts it, because that was a very vital law that we made as a parliament, so that when we are taxing the employees on their payslip, we don't include those statutory elements and deductions. Because when you do so, it's double deduction. In fact, it was meant to leave some more money on the payslips of the workers. Chair, is that correct? And therefore, I want to support it because it is very, very progressive. Remember, one of the biggest challenge we are facing now by the workers of this country is that there are too many levies on their payslips. And this was supposed to actually achieve a situation whereby they have some relief. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Wunda, 1 minute.
Quick one. It is possible, Chair, I support, 100% support the amendments as it was done before it's being carried here, but probably the failure to allow all deductions and relief could be out of ignorance, not knowing what was provided for not everybody is kept abreast with the changes in the law. Can I ask the chair that once the president assents to this bill and these changes, just run down all the allowed deductions, reliefs, and everything, and probably do like the Mwananchi version, whichever you call it. Post it anywhere or circulate it. So, both an employee in the village who has employed a petrol attendant in a village that sells only 10 liters a day will not bother to follow all these processes. Okay. Just do Mwananchi guide, so Kenyans can know. Even Mwalimu Mboko doesn't know all these things. He's now and he's a teacher, a very renowned person.
Thank you.
But also these small things. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, I would like to assure Professor Ruto that Mwalimu Mheshimiwa Mboko is very conversant with these matters. He's on Speaker's panel, is one of the most keen members in this House to follow procedures
But
in the House.
the comment made by the Honorable Member for Funyula is a fair comment. That if Mboko doesn't know, what do you expect about the guy down there?
I was coming to that, Honorable Chair. We have, Honorable Chair, and on a very
finish.
and on a very serious, Honorable Chair, one of the consistent remarks we got when we moved across the 10 counties in this country, they were saying our lawmaking process is too technical, even for fairly educated Kenyans. And they were saying we need to have simpler versions of the bill, of the process, and even in our communication. And therefore, this is a call to us as a House, as Parliament, to communicate better in a simpler language, to the executive that implement these particular proposals, to Kenya Revenue Authority to simplify them in an easier way. Honorable Chair, sometimes I have watched adverts from our entities across all the arms of government, especially the executive. Honorable Chair, most of these communications are in English. So we need to have even versions of our bills and our laws in vernacular, so that Kikuyu speaking speaker from Mukinyai in my village can understand, so that Tholuo speaking Kenyan from Ukwala can understand what we mean, Honorable Speaker. So I agree with Honorable Oundo from Funyula that we need to simplify the way we communicate our legal making process, because sometimes, even for fairly educated and learned Kenyans, it becomes a bit too technical to understand. Honorable Chair, I've always said, sometimes even when we present these bills to Kenyans, sometimes the proposal is to delete a deletion. And therefore, even when they get to the bill, the proposal is to delete a deletion. So again, you have now to get to the parent act to see what was being deleted, Honorable Chair. And I think we have an obligation to make sure we simplify our communication.
Well said. Thank you. The Honorable Mboko.
Honorable Chair, what that particular clause means is that once you allow the pay to be deducted on the gross, including the deductions, it means you are actually taxing the workers on money that will not go to them. Basically, that's the basis of it. I just wanted to correct that I'm the master of this, and that's why I raised it. It's a very good amendment, and actually, the employers must now be compelled to do exactly that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, members, I put the question that clause 17 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 17 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clauses 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25.
Members, I propose a question that clauses 18, clause 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 be amended, be part of the bill. Members, those clauses have no amendments. I therefore put the question that clauses 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 26.
Members, I propose a question that clause 26 be part of the bill. And this is an amendment by the Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 26 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is to allow for investment allowance for a spectrum license by a telecommunication operator. Additionally, Honorable Chair, this amendment is to retain 100% investment allowance reduction for investment outside Nairobi and Mombasa. Honorable Chair, as I said yesterday, this investment allowance for spectrum license is going to ensure that we have more coverage of network across the country. It is really unfortunate, Honorable Chair, that in 2025, we still have some parts of this country that there's no power, there's no telephone connectivity. And
are you moving?
This particular amendment, Honorable Chair, is seeking
order. Which one are you moving?
27.
Yeah, move 26 first.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Oh, yes. Sorry. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 26 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, I want to thank sincerely Honorable Oudo, because he's the one who noticed this yesterday during the second reading.
And he has noticed it again today.
And he has noticed it again today. Noted that, Honorable Chair, that the amendment as proposed in the bill, Honorable Chair, would leave out payment of gratuity and pension outside public pension schemes. Honorable Chair, during a time when there are a lot of investments, there are a lot of savings, Honorable Chair, by Kenyans in other non-public pension schemes, it is very important that we don't exclude this particular pension and medical schemes that Kenyans pay outside the public schemes. And therefore, I beg to move that we now delete the word public from the bill so that the law will read other allowances paid under a pension scheme. So which will therefore mean the import of this is that therefore payments made to both public and private pension scheme now will fall under would now be exempt, Honorable Chair, from income tax. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Members, I propose the question, therefore, that clause 26 be amended as proposed by the Chair. And I want to give this chance to Honorable MYKE. Honorable MYKE has the floor. Honorable Wundo, this lady has the floor now. Allow her.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I also just want to support this particular amendment and also to just extend my salutation to Honorable Oundo, because yes, Honorable Chair, if we limit it to public, it means a whole spectrum of people who have investments outside that space are actually affected. And for me, Honorable Chair, also is just to speak to the matter of one thing that as Africans we experience, which is called black tax. This is very encouraging for people who are investing for their retirement and for people who are already in retirement, that they will not be taxed for this particular. And so yes, I support this amendment. Thank you.
Member for Keses.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair for the committee. Mine, I also want to support this particular amendment by ensuring that we onboard every Kenyan. You know, we are achieving the provision of the Constitution on inclusivity. And more so to say, the aspect that we want to encourage Kenyans to save for investment purposes. You know, there's something that we need to align. Kenya now, as we can say, it is on leverage level, where we are borrowing much from outside than even from within. And we want to encourage savings by Kenyans, borrow from them, invest and develop our country, and they can derive the benefit and interest from their savings. So this particular amendment is good. We want to encourage both private and public so that together, cumulatively, we can build our country together. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Kitui Central. Oh, no, this is your amendment, not so.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I also want to support this. In this country, we appreciate that we have a lot of private pension schemes, Honorable Chair. So if we have not, before this amendment, Honorable Chair would have discriminated Kenyans. And I think it's important. Now, the way it is now, it serves every Kenyan. I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Wundo.
Chair, I just want to sincerely thank the chair of the committee. I raised the matter here. He didn't get the import of what I was saying. As we walked out of the chamber, I do know most of them deal with very more important things out of the formal arrangement. So I encourage there must be quite a lot of informal discussions. That's where we tied it up. And even I have evidence here, handwriting. So thank you, Chair. You are now listening, Chair. Thank you.
Done. All members, I propose a question that clause 26 be amended as honorable members, I propose a question that clause 26 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that clause 26 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 27.
Honorable members, I propose a question that clause 27 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair. Now you can talk about those things of cables you're talking about.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 27 be amended as per the order paper. These are two important, Honorable Chair. One of them is to introduce an investment allowance for spectrum license for telecommunication operators, Honorable Speaker. And I did say that despite Kenya having been one of the countries that has the greatest penetration of mobile network, we still have some villages across the country that still don't have telephone connectivity. And we are hoping, Honorable Chair, that once we provide this investment allowance, because spectrum license is a very expensive affair, Honorable Speaker, and therefore exempting this would incentivize our telecommunication operators to apply for this spectrum license and to invest in connecting the whole country, Honorable Speaker, into mobile connectivity. Honorable Speaker, additionally, this amendment is seeking also to retain the 100% investment deduction allowance that we had granted in December during the tax laws amendment bill to investments outside Nairobi and Mombasa. Honorable Speaker, we need to encourage especially companies to move out of Nairobi and Mombasa. It has two solutions, one creating employment in rural areas, Honorable Speaker, and also reducing the rural-urban migration and now the congestion that we see in our cities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair, I beg to move.
Thank you. Members, I propose a question that clause 27 be amended as proposed by the chair. The honorable member for Kibwezi East.
Thank you, Chair. I stand to support the amendment to clause 27, and especially on the investment allowance, the spectrum increase, as it is going to cover more, areas, and especially the rural areas, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair. We are aware that most of the investments have been put into capital centers and the rural areas where we come from, and most of us where we represent, we are not having this advantage, and so I support.
Thank you. Honorable members, I put the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 27 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 28 be part of the bill. Chair.
Honorable Chair, clause 28 has three very consequential amendments. One, Honorable Chair, clause 28 was seeking to delete the tax incentives that we had granted to, that was giving preferential tax rate for companies that were constructing 100 residential units. Honorable Chair, we found this to be inconsistent with the government's agenda to provide affordable housing. And we're saying, despite now the government providing this particular affordable housing to Kenya, it's also important to incentivize private sector to do the same. And therefore, we are proposing a deletion of that particular proposal so that we can continue to advance this preferential tax treatment for institutions that are building affordable housing for at least 100 units. This also is seeking now to again reinstate the tax incentives we had provided for local assembling of motor vehicles. Honorable Chair, I look forward to a time when you and I can drive locally made vehicles in this particular country. And it has been made possible before, but again, retrieving the incentive that we done to this sector would again disadvantage that particular space, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, the further is intending to reduce the tax to 5% of withdrawals made by punters, Honorable Speaker. But most importantly, on digital asset tax. Honorable Chair, when you make an investment or a transfer on digital assets, if you're using, say, a Bitcoin to pay for a particular service, the current law was providing that you would pay tax on the transaction amount. It is the equivalent of being taxed for depositing money in your bank. But now we are changing this from not based on the transaction amount, but by the fees the service provider are going to charge you when, Honorable Chair, you trade using digital assets. And again, this is very important because as I read yesterday, next week we'll be tabling a report and moving amendments to the digital assets regulatory bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair, I beg to move.
Thank you. All members, I propose the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. Member for Kitui Central.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Chairperson, I do support these incentives, but I want to make the following observations. If you look at our motor assembly companies in this country, and you look at the construction sector, there's a lot of monopolistic tendencies. And that means we might be benefiting very few companies at the expense of Kenyans not benefit from that tax. So I would wish that even as we move forward, it would be important that we open these sectors for competition. We need more firms to come on board so that when we provide these tax incentives, then we benefit many more Kenyans. I submit, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you. All members, I put the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And I put the question, members, that clause 28 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. All members, that clause had an amendment by the majority leader, but because we've carried the amendment by the Finance Committee, that amendment by the majority leader falls.
Clause 29.
All members, I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 29 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, this is just a cleanup. In fact, the impact of this amendment is just to have a comma immediately after the word individual, so that the law now will read in paragraph 6 H5, but then the words an individual, then comma, immediately after the word where. So it's mainly a cleanup, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, members. I propose a question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. Member for Kibwezi East.
Thank you, Chair. I rise also to support the cleanup. Chair, in law, interpretation, a comma means a lot.
Correct.
It means a lot, so it can change the whole meaning, and so I support the
Thank
cleanup.
you. Members, I put the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that clause 29 be amended. Clause 29 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
New clause 5A.
Members, we got two new clauses. So the new clause 5A, member, you moving new clause 5A for the second reading.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 5A be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, this amendment is deleting the proposal is to repeal section 12D of the Income Tax Act. As you may recall, Honorable Chair, I think the Finance Act of 2023, we did pass a law providing for minimum tax. Honorable Chair, however, the courts have since declared minimum tax unconstitutional, and therefore this amendment is now seeking to delete that particular provision because the courts have since declared it to be unconstitutional.
Thank you. Well, members, I propose a question that the new clause 5A be now read a second time.
Yeah. Honorable Chairperson, how I wish that the chairperson would have provided more details in terms of when you say the courts have declared unconstitutional. Is it leading to discrimination? What is really the issue? Because that is not coming out clear.
Honorable Chair.
So, Honorable Chair, Section 12D of the Income Tax Act is the one that was providing for minimum tax. It's a whole 12D, 1 and 1A. However, Honorable Speaker, this particular proposal was challenged in our courts and was said you cannot tax a loss. That for you to pay tax in Kenya, you need to have derived an income from that particular activity. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, requiring that businesses pay minimum tax would mean then they would be required to pay tax whether or not they paid, whether or not they derived income in Kenya. And therefore, it's for that merit that the court declared that unconstitutional. And it's also important to note that that particular ruling was not challenged. And therefore, continuing to have this Section 12D in our books, is senseless. And therefore, now they move to now repeal Section 12D of the Income Tax Act.
Makes a lot of sense, honourable members. I therefore put the question that the new clause 5A be now read a second time. We'll ask many of that opinion say aye. We'll ask many other opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honourable members, I now propose the question that the new clause 5A be part of the bill. I put the question, members, that the new clause 5A be part of the bill. We'll ask many of that opinion say aye. We'll ask many other opinion say nay. The ayes have it. We go to the next order. All members, I wish to recognize in the presence of the speakers in the speakers gallery the presence of students from St. Joseph Girls Kipsaina, KO South Constituency, Elgeyo Marakwet County. They are welcome to Parliament to follow our proceedings this afternoon and to the Houses of Parliament. Thank you. Next order.
New clause 6A.
All members, I propose the question. No, I wish to call the mover to move the new clause 6A for second reading.
So, Honourable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 6A be now read a second time. As you may recall, Honourable Chair, we did move an amendment on tax paid on digital assets, moving it from the transaction amount to fees. And therefore, this is a subsectional amendment that now is seeking now to introduce a new clause so that that digital asset tax is now based on the fees charged on virtual asset providers and not on the transaction amount. I beg to move, Honourable Chair.
Members, I propose a question. The new clause 6A being read a second time. I think it's self-explanatory. And now put the question that the new clause 6A be now read a second time. We'll ask many of the opinion say aye. We'll ask many of the court opinion say nay. Ayes have it. I now propose the question, members, that the new clause 6A be part of the bill. I put the question that the new clause 6A be part of the bill. We'll ask many of the opinion say aye. We'll ask many of the court opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Provisions relating to the Value Added Tax Act, Cap 476, Clause 30 and 31.
Members, I propose a question that clauses 30 and 31 be part of the bill. Because there are no amendments, I put the question that clauses 30 and 31 be part of the bill. We'll ask many of the opinion say aye. We'll ask many of the court opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32.
I propose a question, members, that clause 32 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
So, Honourable Chair, just to give a brief of where we are so far, the Finance Bill of 2025 was seeking to amend 5 different laws: the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Excise Duty Act, the Tax Procedures Act, and the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act. So far, we've now dealt with all the proposed amendment in the Income Tax Act, and now we are now in the next statute that now this finance bill is seeking to amend, which is a Value Added Tax Act. So, Honourable Chair, I beg to move that Clause 32 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is seeking to retain the provision allowing the option to offset excess tax under any written law. And paragraph EA, we are saying that this was introduced to allow refunds for incidents of permanent credits arose due to changes in rates of tax. While the intention was to resolve an issue caused by legislation, the provision has failed to take effect due to technical drafting flaw. So, Honourable Chair, this particular provision, to avoid all the tax refund requests that KRA seems to get every time, that I alluded that we have only a budget of around 5 billion, despite tax refunds going to in excess of 50 billion shillings, Honourable Chair. Now, this is a cleanup to make sure that taxpayers are allowed to offset their current tax liabilities from excess tax that you might have paid, even if that was a different tax bracket, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair. That would mean that in the event, for example, you had overpaid your input tax, you are allowed to offset your input tax, whether from your corporation tax, from pay as you want, or from any other tax head that you may have in your tax obligation. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. All members, I propose a question that clause 32 be amended as proposed by the chair. Yes, Honorable Member for Funyula.
I sincerely thank and I want to strongly support this amendment as moved by the chair of the committee. All taxes are paid to KRA. It is received, whether it's different accounts or what, it all belongs to KRA. So it should be simple entry, exit, then the bottom line. So this issue of compartmentalization, I don't know, this is VAT, this is payee, this is excise duty, this is a very progressive way of getting things done. I support and I wish you good life and long life.
Members, I put the question that clause 32 as amended as proposed. Will as many other opinion say aye? And as many other opinion say nay? The ayes have it. But I now put the question that clause 32 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinion say aye? And as many other opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 33, 34, and 35.
Honourable members, I propose a question that clauses 33, 34, and 35 be part of the bill. And there be no amendment to those clauses. I put the question that clauses 33, 34, and 35 be part of the bill. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 36.
Members, I propose a question that clause 36 is part of the bill. And that clause 36 has 3 proposed amendments. One by the Finance Committee, another by a little majority, and one by the Honorable Wangui. So if we carry the chairperson's amendments, then the other ones will fall accordingly. The amendments have to be moved first before you talk to it. You have to move the amendment, Chair.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 36 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, in as much as we want to clean the first and second schedule of the VAT Act, we need to be sensitive to matters that are of great concerns to Kenyans. And although this zero rate and exempt status has been largely abused by some of these enterprises, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, there's some commodities that are so essential that we cannot, that we should not move them from zero rate, Honorable Chair, to exempt or standard rate as proposed in this particular bill, Honorable Speaker. And we singled out a few of them. One of them being transportation of sugarcane. Because, Honorable Chair, why sugarcane stands out is because sugarcane is such a bulk item, such a heavy item, that one of the largest costs in value addition of sugarcane is actually the transportation cost of those particular sugarcane, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, is zero rating status of electric motorcycles, electric bicycles, Honorable Speaker. As you've noticed, nowadays, if you move around Nairobi, most of the boda guys and most of the taxi hailing services that do deliveries are both electric motorcycles and electric bicycles. And Honorable Chair, we noticed something very unique, especially the inclusion of electric bicycles, Honorable Chair, in our country, has actually made even, especially ladies, now do that taxi hailing services even more. Honorable Chair, as you move around Nairobi, you'll see there are these motorcycles that have their lights on and they have something round near the steering wheel. So that's how you know. Okay, that's one of the ways you know an electric motorcycle. And this has been made because this House made a deliberate decision in the Finance Act of 2023 to provide zero rating status for local assembly of electric motorcycles, electric bicycles, and electric buses, Honorable Speaker. And we must therefore be consistent in our tax regime. We cannot December say, you're granting this exemption to you, come invest in our country, build electric motorcycles, build electric bicycles, build electric buses, Honorable Speaker, only for us to take away that particular incentive 6 months later. We must be consistent so that we allow investment in our country, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, this particular amendment is also seeking to clarify the following items as exempt: mosquito repellent inputs and machinery, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair. In 2025, we still have a big challenge with mosquito menace in our country, Honorable Chair. And I know from the region you come from, you know, the issue of malaria infections, the issue of mosquitoes is such a great issue. And therefore, we are hoping that granting this exemption to manufacture of this equipment that will be used to fight mosquito, Honorable Speaker, will go a long way to not just creating employment in Kenya, not just bringing investment in our country, but also in our fight against malaria. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Well, members, I propose the question that clause 36 be amended as proposed by the chair. The first bite on this would be the Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank the Chair of Finance that he has really considered the issue of sugarcane transportation. And Honorable Speaker, looking at the component of fuel, by the time you get the costing of fuel into the commodity under manufacturing, already, Honorable Speaker, you've taxed the fuel. You already loaded onto it the tax component. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, by you again taxing it at the consumption level, meaning the production level, it would amount to double taxation, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I'm happy that the Chair has listened to it, and we want to agree with him, and I support.
Honorable Maungu.
Thank you, Chair. I listened to the Chair express the issue of that clause, and with regard to the sugar industry, Chair, I come from the sugar area, and I'm in support with what Chair, the gentleman seated before me is not allowing me to debate.
Honorable Mboko, you'll get a chance. Just relax.
No. Chair, I'm not talking about Honorable Mboko, I'm talking about Honorable Kaluma here.
Honorable Kaluma.
Interfering with my
Honorable Kaluma, this is not your chance. This is the chance for the Honorable Member from Rwanda. No, you are interfering with him. Allow him to contribute.
Chair, I cannot search for points from somebody who is trying to interfere with the flow of my thoughts, as Kaluma is trying to put it.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair. Mine was just support the proposal as given by the Chair. Thank you.
Member for Seme.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chair, I actually support. It's actually ridiculous. I don't know what was happening to us. How can you put tax on transportation while this person has used fuel? The fuel itself has been taxed. Maybe I didn't notice. I admit I was sleeping that time. So I support. And the issue of mosquitoes, anything that will actually help reduce the cost of healthcare is actually something which should be exempt. So I support these amendments.
Member for Muhaya.
Yes, okay. I have the mic here.
Yes.
Somewhat. Chair, did you give me a chance?
Yes, you're the member for Muhaya, not so.
Oh, thank you. You know, I'm easily identified as Mwalimu Mboko Milemba. I want to support that amendment. Number one, it really deals with the disease malaria and makes it very easy for investment in that section. Number two, sugarcane, which the transport cost is higher than any other cost. But more fundamentally, Chair, is the issue of the electric motorcycles and bikes, because that's the way we want to go. And it will reduce our usage of our foreign exchange to importation of oil. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Home Bay Town.
Yes, I thank you, Chair. Chair, this idea of zero rating, we may be postponing it, but we need to think about it very deeply. Because we are zero rating very many products, but we have no evidence that by zero rating, the benefit goes to the local person or the consumer. Look, for instance, this thing we are calling transportation cost for sugarcane. Number one, how do you prove that these products are being used on tractors? Any vehicle can be fueled. But number two, how does the benefit go to the local person? We've had cases, Chair, where a person, something like bread is being zero rated. I know we fear touching those things, and it is only for that reason that I'll support this. But the bakers just, instead of employing more bakers, the factory are employing more people to claim tax refunds. And we are in a situation where tax expenditure, we were being told by the Chair, is standing at 550 billion in a year. So we collect 2.4 trillion, but 550 is going into expenditure. Partly
into refunds.
Partly towards refunds, not because people are paid excess, but because people have a leeway in law to claim.
Thank you.
Yet they are not giving any benefit. So we may allow this for now, but we will need to review this once we explain to the public the nonsense that we are engaging the country in, because we don't have this money to give KRA to pay.
Thank you.
I thank
The member for Kitui Rural.
Chair, let me also support this amendment. Chair, the tax expenditure in this country, as it has been indicated, is 550. Of this, 60% is on VAT alone. And Chair, we cannot really say, because what is happening is that most of these manufacturers, they still input the VAT at the final product. Then they go back and claim input VAT. Chair, as we stand now, KRA is not able to do the refunds. So I support.
Member, the chairperson of BS Budget Committee.
Chair, I also want to join my colleagues in saying that until we become bold enough as a country or as parliament to be able to interfere with some of these zero-rated products, then I think we are not going to make good progress. Honorable Speaker, one of the strategies that we have proposed as Budget Committee towards realizing our revenue targets is to cancel all zero-rated items from the books. Honorable Speaker, as Kaluma has pointed out, some of these zero-rated items, we cannot even know how the public is benefiting from them. So these are taxes that we fear because of the perception that the public will complain. But in the end, it is the Kenyan taxpayers that are suffer. If we can be able to cancel even half of some of these zero-rated items from the books, we are going to save about 400 billion. Honorable Speaker, imagine 400 billion savings that we'll make. We are paying 1.1 trillion interest on debt. Look at how much money we will have for development. So going forward, I think that I want to request the chairman of Budget of Finance Committee that we can tabulate all these zero-rated items, and then we basically cancel them. We'll make good progress. Thank you.
Oh, members, I now put the question that clause 36 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 36 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Oh, members, the amendment proposed by the Honorable Youth Leader and the Honorable Wangwe therefore fall because we've carried these amendments in the chairperson's amendment.
Clause 37.
Members, I propose the question that clause 37 is part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 37 be amended as per the order paper. As we notice, Honorable Chair, on the bill, now having now made the decision on clause 36, because 36 was now deleting these particular products from the second schedule, that the zero rate. Now, clause 37 was taking them to exempt. And therefore now the proposal now to delete this particular proposal, because some of those products we have now carried, that we have continued to have them remain as zero rate, and therefore now the consequential amendment on clause 37 therefore falls, Honorable Chair. And I want to really agree with the sentiments that have been made by my colleagues. Our tax zero rate and exempt status, Honorable Speaker, has largely been abused. However, Honorable Chair, one of the temptations we should not avoid is now throwing the water and the baby with the bathwater. Yes, Honorable Chair. However, we have tried to cure this by creating a clause 35. We have tried to cure this by introducing a clause 35.
36A, you mean?
And if I call you clause 35, that we are amending the VAT Act by inserting the following new paragraph: where a person imports or purchases goods or services which are exempt or zero rated, and the person subsequently disposes of or uses the goods or services supplied in a manner inconsistent with the purpose for which the goods or services were exempted or zero-rated, the person shall be liable to pay tax on the goods or services at the applicable rate at the time of disposal or inconsistent use. So we are trying to tighten, even as we wait to clean up the first and second schedule of the VAT Act, to now try to require, Honorable Chair, that where someone uses the goods, as Honorable Kaluma explained on the transportation of sugarcane, in a way that is inconsistent with the reason why that particular good was exempt or zero rate, then they will be required now to pay the equivalent of that tax on a China. Hoping that KRA will use this administrative and legislative framework to try to cure the mischief around this zero rate and exempt status, Honorable Chair.
Members, I propose a question that clause 37 be amended as proposed by the chair. Honorable Wundo.
Chair, let me also join my colleagues in joining this debate between zero rating and exempt. As for now, Chair, the purported proposal by Treasury to move from zero rating to exempt would have automatically resulted in some minimal price increases, which at this particular point in the moment would have been a very bad decision in view of the prevailing economic circumstances. Again, when you meet many of the traders and the business people, there was some element of consistency and predictability. I totally agree that these tax expenditures might not necessarily benefit the end consumer. But eventually, we must find a way of putting a timeline when this, from zero rating to exempt will happen, so that everybody knows after 2 to 3 years, this is what will happen. But just all of a sudden, it was changes last year, another changes here, it's so disruptive. So as my colleagues have said, and let me throw to the committee, we need to start a process that can be predictable over time, that this will change this way, this will change the following year, so that everybody prepares adequately. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, once more I want to thank the Chair of Finance. By him now correcting the issue after the voting in the Section 36, it puts to rest, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, any avenue for corruption. What is likely to happen, Honorable Chair, is that the tax agents will take advantage that this is not aligned with the initial provision in a Section 36. Now to even now go and find out more in terms of pushing the traders to give them more money for nothing. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the cleanup is important, is timely, and I would want to say thank you, and I support this amendment.
So, members, I put the question that clause 37 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 37 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, there was a proposed amendment by the Honorable Wangwe, which falls because the substance of the same has been carried by the committee's amendment.
New clause 30A.
The Honorable Chair move new clause 30A for second reading.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 38 be now read.
No, it's 30A.
No. Oh, new clause 30A.
38 and 30A. Clause 30A.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 30A be now read a second time. This amendment is seeking to provide that the VAT payable on disposable realization of a security for a debt should be paid by the debtor. Honorable Chair, this new clause reads as follows. Section 5 of the VAT Act is amended by deleting subsection 3 and substituting therefore the following new subsection. The tax on taxable supply shall be a liability of the registered person making the supply and subject to the provision of this Act relating to accounting and payment shall become due at the time of supply. Provided that where the taxable supply involves a sale or an auction of goods or recover and paid debt to enforce or give effect to a security charge or encumbrance, tax on the taxable supply shall, subject to the provision of this Act, be the liability of the debtor. Honorable Chair, as you may, for example, if a credit lending entity recovers an item from a security item from you, so maybe it was a motor vehicle. then the sale of that item is a vatable transaction. So this now, the creditor wants to recover the debt that they advanced you. And therefore now we are requiring that the debtor be the one who is eligible to pay for the tax payable for that particular good when now it's being auctioned or repossessed from the debtor. So we are taking the obligation from the creditor to the debtor. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Members, I propose a question that new clause 30A being read a second time. This is Honorable Mboko.
It's important that, Chair, you come back and clarify the real importance of that process, because you are now transferring the tax to be paid by the debtor. So that the country and ourselves, especially me, I may understand how beneficial this will be. Thank you, Chair.
Member for Nandi.
Honorable Chair, I think Mwalimu Mboko Milema has been able to prosecute my concern as well, because, Honorable Chair, looking at it, it looks like the person who was not even able to be to settle their bills or their debts is again added a further liability of paying the taxes that is owed by the taxing institution. So, Honorable Chair, I think the Chair should do us justice to explain it to us so that probably we can get another perspective, because so far the perspective we are getting is an addition of a burden to the person who is already not able to pay their debts.
Member for Samburu West.
Thank you, Chairman. I do not understand the import at all of this amendment, Chairman, because the creditor will probably sell whatever needs to be sold and will be able to recover not only the amount that was owed, but including even profit, whatever, they'll get more than probably because maybe what you used as a guarantee will be sold at a more expensive, they will receive more money. And then the person who was not able to pay that loan or debt is now being told, pay tax, you pay tax. So I don't understand how KRA will be able to raise money from this. It should just continue to be the creditor so that when they're disposing whatever asset it is, they factor in the tax. So it is important for the chairman to explain this. Otherwise, I will definitely oppose.
The Honorable, I don't want a debate on this matter because the question is the same. She should just clarify to us. The member for Dagoretti North.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just to understand. You see, when you bring in such a proposal, you must start asking yourselves who are normally the debtors and who are the creditors. I think that is what every Kenyan will be trying to ask he or herself. What does this come? Because I'll put it, for example, mortgage. This can be very well also misused in many, many assets, not just small assets we are looking at, but a bank can really go rogue using this. Yeah.
Chairman, all they're saying
clarity.
So you're paying the auctioneer's fee, you've paid the debt. Then they put all this together, then you carry the tax on all this. Is that the position, and why must that happen? That's the question.
So maybe let us start from the time when a credit entity issues a loan to a debtor. The issue of that loan is exempt. So the issue of that loan, when they are loaning you for this to buy your asset, then that is an exempt transaction. Then you default, for whatever reason, to honor your obligation. But there was a collateral in which now you're being advanced, and which transaction was exempt. But now we are telling now the creditor that when now they dispose of these assets to pay off this obligation, that is a taxable transaction. So it means that when they were advancing the payment to you, it was at a quote unquote a cheaper rate because it was exempt. But now when they are trying to recover the costs, then you're requiring them to pay VAT on that particular transaction, which now makes it difficult for them to recover the costs of the loan that they advanced you. And therefore, they're saying that now that it is the obligation now to pay that particular transaction should fall on the defaulter and not on the financing transaction. But in terms of whether that can be abused, Honorable Chair, there is very good safeguards on principles of credit lending, where the interest should not be more than the principal amount that was loaned to an entity, and therefore, even though there is merit in what members are raising, I think that can be cured administratively by making sure that the cost does not fall more than the cost of that particular item to the loanee, Honorable Chair.
But just order. The issue is raises that what about if the money given in the first instance is exempt, but now they're taxing it because it's done interest? Probably that's the reason they're now taxing it. It's done interest, and this interest is included in what is being recovered. Anyway, go on, Honorable Undo.
I see a practical challenge in implementing this particular clause. Very practical challenge. And I want the chair to listen and his technical team. I want them to listen. Assume you have taken a mortgage on a property. You have taken a mortgage on a property. At disposal in the event you default, the Land Act clearly states that the property should not be sold less than 75% of the value, of the market value. Assume you have been servicing and you defaulted. It's already capped at 75%. That 75% presupposes that the bank should absorb all the attendant costs in respect of the same transaction, to an extent that they don't expect the owner of the property, the borrower, again to go into his pocket to service the outstanding debt. That's the implication.
Thank you.
So that we avoid a case where auctioneers at the banks used to collude and fleece members. Here again, you are bringing this into the arrangement. Thank you.
Member for Samburu West.
Thank you, Chairman. And having listened to the Chairman of the Finance Committee, it is even better to put the tax before, so that because he has said that it was exempt, you are not paying the tax. It is better for the debtor to know what they're getting themselves into, but not after they are unable to pay, Chairman. And so, and also it doesn't make sense. Is it the creditor who will give the debtor the money so that they pay the tax? You can't overburden that debtor who is not able. So I oppose.
The Honourable Member for Kitui Central.
You know, Honourable Chairperson, we are addressing a very serious matter here and very simple. What we are saying is, by the time you get to be auctioned, financially you have serious challenges. Now, imagine a situation where, Honourable Chairperson, I'm being auctioned, and my car has been taken to be sold, and then I've been told to pay tax. It really makes it very complicated. So in terms of implementation of the Chairperson of Finance, I think this amendment, you need to get it out of the order paper, let's think through it, and then you can bring it later. I think that it will be helping the country.
Thank you, members. I now propose a question that the new clause 30A be now read a second time. We'll ask. Chair, what's the problem?
So Honorable Chair, listening to honorable members raise their concerns about this particular matter, I think this is a proposal that needs a bit more rethinking, and therefore I beg to withdraw this particular amendment, and now we'll consult further so that we make sure that we do not disadvantage an already disadvantaged defaulter on this particular proposal.
Yeah, that's
so I beg to drop this particular amendment.
Chairman, that's how someone earns the title honorable. Yeah, well done. I therefore note for records that the new clause 30A is hereby withdrawn. Next clause.
New clause 36A.
Honourable members, I propose a question that the new clause 36A is to be moved for second reading by the chair.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Honourable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 36A be now read a second time. So, Honourable Chair, this, as you may recall, we used to have, I think it's called AFCO, the entity that used to supply goods and services to our great men and women in uniform. However, this has since changed to Defence Forces Welfare Services, Honourable Chair, and therefore, this is in line with the amendments we made in December in our tax amendment clause to now provide that services and goods being offered to our women and men in uniform be exempt from taxes, Honourable Speaker. And this also includes also accommodation, restaurant, and beauty salon and laundry services that are offered by Defence Forces Welfare Services, so that we continue to incentivize these great men and women who offer their entire life to serve this particular country, Honourable Speaker. Also, 36 is also providing is a subsequent amendment for the manufacture of mosquito repellents, as I had moved earlier. Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that this now clause 36A be now read a second time.
I propose the question, honourable members, that the new clause 36A be now read a second time. I put the question that the new clause 36A be now read a second time. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I propose the question that the new clause 36A be part of the bill. I now put the question that the new clause 36A be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Provisions relating to the Excise Duty Act, Cap 472, Clause 38.
Members, I propose the question that clause 38 be part of the bill. Move your amendment, Chair. 38.
Honourable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 38 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment, these are proposed amendments of paragraph 2, by adding the words proposed definition of digital marketplace and substituting therefore the following new definition. Digital marketplace means an online or electronic platform which enables users to sell or provide services, goods, or other property to other users. Honourable Chair, this is providing clarity to the definition of digital marketplace.
Thank you. All members, I propose the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the chair. I put the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 38 is amended be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clauses 39, 40, and 41.
Honourable members, I propose the question that clauses 39, 40, and 41 be part of the bill. And because there are no amendments to those clauses, I put the question that clauses 39, 40, and 41 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 42.
Remember, I propose the question that clause 42 be part of the bill. Chair, you are amending clause 42.
Honourable Chair, I beg to move that clause 42 be amended as per the order paper. Honourable Chair, this is providing clarity on particular clauses. One of them is differentiating between imported table eggs and imported eggs that are used for a chicken, for hatching our chicken, Honourable Chair. This also relates to, is also providing different rates, including imported cartons and boxes and paper and imported glass bottles and float gas, Honourable Speaker. So this particular clause is providing for different rates for all these particular products, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Chair, this is one of the steps that we're saying we must be selfish as a country, that we cannot continue to grow our economy if we become a supermarket, that we must make consistent steps in growing and incentivizing our manufacturing sector. One of these proposals, Honorable Chair, is introducing incentives for local manufacture of cartons that are used for packaging of tea and coffee. As I explained, Honorable Chair, one of the greatest challenges we've been having with the price of our tea and coffee is because we have not built capacity or incentivized our sectors enough to manufacture the packaging materials that are used to package our tea and our coffee. And therefore, we end up exporting our tea and coffee at a very cheap rate, Honorable Chair, in gunias, only for them to end up in our neighboring countries, in Sri Lanka and Dubai, become packaged and come back at almost 1,000 times more than the cost of these particular items. Therefore, we give a very low yield to our farmers, Honorable Speaker, and you have just few people who are just importing our raw materials and bringing them back at exorbitant prices, making all the profit. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
All members, I propose the question. That clause 42 amendments proposed by the chair. Honorable Member for Samburu West.
Thank you, Chairman. I do support. Value addition is very important for us as a country, as it will increase the yields, as it has been said, and so I support.
Members, I put the question, therefore, that clause 42 amendments proposed by the chair. Will ask many of the opinion say aye. Will ask many of the contrary opinion say nay. Ayes have it. And I put the question, members, that clause 42 was amended to be part of the bill. Will ask many of the opinion say aye. Will ask many of the contrary opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 40A.
Members, will the mover move the new clause 40A for second reading?
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 40A be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, during public participation, I'll give an example of one entity that came to our committee. They are called Koru Ram. This is a manufacturer based in Koru, in Muhoroni, who converts sugarcane into methanol and prepares a fantastic ram. However, Honorable Chair, for the last 4 years, despite them setting up a plant, they have never been operational. Because the costs of something called a flow meter, that is a requirement of Kenya Revenue Authority, costs in excess of, I think it's 25 million shillings. And therefore, you are requiring a micro brewer who is using our raw materials and creating employment, keeping them without a license for 4 years, because you're requiring them to have a flow meter that costs 25 million shillings. And therefore, but when we asked KRA, they said, no, it's a fault in the law. And therefore, now we provided for this particular exemption, that now is going to exempt these micro distillers from the requirement to have that particular kind of flow meter, so that we can have other alternative macro and cottage industries that can use locally made materials, Honorable Speaker, as an alternative to the killer brews that you have in this country, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move.
Thank you. More members, I propose a question, therefore, that the new clause 40A be now read a second time. The Honorable MYKE.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, if there is any amendment that is very powerful in this finance bill, it is this particular amendment.
Because of RAM?
Yes, because of the RAM, Honorable Chair. And I'm speaking as someone who has seen our distillers in Nyamira County making wine out of bananas and sugarcane, and how much they have put very creative, a lot of creativity into it. So, Honorable Chair, this particular one I support with every fiber of my bone.
Members, I put the question. What is out of order? It's just RAM. The honorable member for this is the majority whip or minority whip. Okay, the BBG whip. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it's a rule in this House that members must declare interest. Can Honorable MYKE declare personal interest on this issue? On this amendment, which she says is the most important in the finance bill, can she declare interest?
She did already. She said she's kissy. The Honorable Kaluma.
Chair, thank you for the opportunity. Chair, the reasons given by the chair are very good. Very good. But so that we don't appear to be favoring just some sectors, have we done an overview of all sectors which are similarly affected so that we don't just go for one or two?
Thank you.
Yeah, and if so, where are those others?
Honorable Chair, there's a question. Order. Honorable Majority Leader, Majority Leader allow us to proceed for a minute. Order. Allow us to proceed for a minute before you go back to this. Just respond to this question, then you can go back to him. This question is, are there other sectors that have been identified the way you've identified the RAM one?
So I just gave that an example, and I think I also need to make a clarification. Actually, that amendment refers to the next I'm going to speak to, but this clause 40A is speaking to making what you call restricted items, which only includes ethanol. But what you've seen is that now the guys that make this illicit liquor have become smart. They're not just using ethanol, they're also using methanol. So we are now putting methanol as a restricted product so that it's from its production all the way to the end is actually observed. But the issue that we are speaking to is actually now in the next amendment, which is also is very crucial. And I just pick Koruram as one of the examples. But Honorable Chair, one of the things that we must agree as a House, as a correct way to end the menace of illicit brews, is if we allow other products that are used locally manufactured products into making of liquor, Honorable Chair. We have left the people that want to have a good evening after their nyama choma to very expensive drinks, Honorable Chair. And therefore, the only alternative they have has been this cheap liquor, methanol, less alcohol, Honorable Chair. And you must agree, it's okay that Honorable Chair, you are Titatola, which is fine. But we must agree that Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah here likes to enjoy his drink after having his nyama choma, and we must provide him with other alternatives.
Chair, you know where I come from. Chair, you know where I come from. We make the best changa. So it doesn't matter whether I'm titular or not. But so to be clear, order. So just a minute, Chair. So to be clear, 40A is about restricting the importation of methanol. You have to be clear like that. That 40 is about restricting importation of methanol to make so that we're able to use more healthier ways of making our alcohol. Is that okay? All members, I therefore put the question that the new clause 40A be now read a second time. Will ask another opinion say aye. Will ask another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I propose the question therefore that the new clause 40A be part of the bill. And now put the question that new clause 40A be part of the bill. Will ask another opinion say aye. And ask another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 41A.
Honorable Chair, move order. New 41A for.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 41A be now read a second time. And just that we carry the members along, new clause 41 read this as follows. That section 25 of the Excess Duty Act is amended by inserting the following new subsections immediately after subsection 2. Notwithstanding subsection 1A, a licensed micro distiller shall be exempt from the requirement for automation, continuous piping and use of mass flow meters. And 2B, that the production of volume of such a licensed micro distiller shall be ascertained and monitored through the use of excise stamps or such other mechanism as the Commissioner may prescribe by notice in the Gazette. So, Honorable Chair, this is now the matter that we are debating earlier.
You explained it very well.
That now we are requiring that these micro distillers are not required to have a flow meter that costs in excess of 25 million shillings so that we are able to have an alternative, Honorable Speaker, and end the menace of illicit brews in our country, Honorable Chair.
Thank you.
I beg to move.
I propose a question, therefore, that the new clause 40 41A be now read a second time. The majority leader?
Chair, let me say I support that amendment, but cautiously. And the caution is this, Honorable Speaker. Any distiller, whether you call him a small or micro or a big distiller, 25 million shillings for a distillery is not too much to ask. Therefore, I want to ask the chair, because I wish we had restricted that probably to a period of maybe 3 or 4 to 5 years, so that beyond 3 to 5 years, you must install a flow meter. Because the danger is this, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair. And I know the Honorable Kimani Kuri had mixed up his earlier statement when he called you a teetotaler, and I am the teetotaler. And he knows, being an elder of in my church,
You're also mixing up
anything close to alcohol.
You're also mixing issues. I don't take alcohol also.
We are both teetotalers.
So say both of us.
Or he mixed up, he wanted to say the chair and the Kimani Ichung'wah are teetotalers, while the chair of finance enjoys his drink. Because me and you know, my church, if I came anywhere close to these things, I would be excommunicated. But I was saying the danger, Chair, is with stamps. Chair, you know, whether it is cigarettes, whether it is drinking water or alcohol, the affixing of stamps on bottles and cigarette packets has been riddled in the past with a lot of many fake stamps. Many done from China. They are sold in the streets, back streets in downtown Nairobi. Therefore, maybe I would want to ask Chair, maybe in the subsequent bill, we restrict this flow meter business to a period of a maximum of 3 years. After 3 years, anyone who is in business should have made money to install the flow meter. Because the flow meter, you will never cheat. But with stamps, cheating will become the order of the day. So I will support for now, but probably ask the chair, maybe in the next year, to ensure that we restrict that particular provision to be time-bound, maybe to a period of 3 to 5 years. Any business that has operated for 3 to 5 years in the distillery world should be able to make money. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, although it's overtaken by time, let me support the issue of regulating the production of methanol. Because if there is anything that has killed people in this country, especially young people, is consumption of illicit alcohol. The illicit alcohol that is sold to many people in our villages is not ethanol. Most of it is methanol, an industrial alcohol that should never be consumed. Therefore, controlling its production is very commendable, and I thank the committee. Thank you.
The member for Githunguri.
Chair, thank you very much. I rise to give my reservations to the proposal that is made by the chair regarding flow meters. In as much as I support any effort to regulate illicit alcohol manufacturing in this country, and in as much as we come up with such recommendations like introducing flow meters, we need to be careful. Because we don't know, some of us don't know, and would want to understand from the chair, these flow meters, how much are they? Is this a heavy investment that will make small businesses not able to afford these flow meters?
He said it's 25 million.
It is 25 million. So it means that once we introduce these flow meters, in as much as we want to discourage the illicit alcohol manufacture in this country, we might force some people out of business, which are legal business. They have been making the right quantity, the right quality of alcohol. 25 million is hell, a lot of investment. So how are we going to make sure that we don't force people out of this business?
Thank you.
Number two, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I am worried that in this proposal where the chairman is talking about the commissioner, we are giving commissioner of taxes a lot of powers. And these powers, if they are not checked, they are going to be misused.
Member for Seme. No, this is the last person on this. Please allow me to remove.
As I support these amendments, an issue is coming here, which seems to be an issue of regulation. Why is a flow meter necessary? And if you go back to why would you use methanol if you can use ethanol? So the question that is coming to me we should look at, and then maybe we'll have to look at, is there some regulatory function that is left loose so that we are trying to solve that through taxation, where we would have actually just needed a regulator
Thank
who
you.
would know we need that. So I think that is, Mr. Speaker, that's what I think we should look at in the alcohol industry. How is the regulation done? What are we missing out? I support.
1 minute. Thank you. 1 minute. Honorable Kaluma.
Yeah, I have a question to the chairman. Chairman Finance, I have a question.
Order.
And maybe...
There's a question to the chairman.
Yeah, the
Finance.
chairman needs to follow. My question is this. For those who already have the flow meter, what happens to them? I need to know. Because now we're introducing the stamps. Yeah. So will they continue and the stamps or together? You know, it's important to know.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair, before you answer, for the sake of what Honorable Chimwa has said, is there a way, because Kenyans are innovating, can't we get cheaper flow meters? Can that be innovated? Chair, you answer that so that we can make progress.
So thank you, Honorable Chair. And I really share with all the sentiments raised at the floor of this House, including the ones raised by my senior, the leader of majority. So 2B is providing for the production volume of such a licensed microshare shall be ascertained and monitored through the use of accessible stamps. So the issue of accessible stamps is not optional. They must use the accessible stamps. The only matter we are exempting from, and these are the new micro distillers, the ones that are not ready in the market. The ones in the market must continue the flow meters, is now not requiring them to have that particular flow meter, because as you had explained, the cost of building a micro distillery is around 10 to 15 million. That is the entire capital investment to create a micro distillery. And now you're telling a cottage industry that has already invested 15 million to set up the entire plant that they need to get another 25 million shillings just to have a flow meter. However, the issue of abuse of this particular clause is something that we must also be awoke to as a House. And therefore, one of the recommendations that we should be making in our report and to Kenya Revenue Authority is then where they are not required to have a flow meter, then there needs to be a verifiable way of the use of that, whether it's ethanol on a chair, which includes technologies such as CCTV. Because the essence of a flow meter is, because methanol and ethanol, with the passage of this law in addition of methanol, are now controlled products, is to show Company X received 1,000 liters of ethanol. How much liquor did they make from that 1,000 liters of ethanol? So to verify that that ethanol was actually used for the purpose in which it was supposed to be used for and was not leaked into the market now as illicit liquor on a chair. So we will find a way of now working with, communicating with the Kenya Revenue Authority and requiring these particular entities to provide evidence in a way that KRA can verify, and other security agencies can verify that this ethanol is actually used for the purpose in which it was acquired, because that is the essence of flow meters. And lastly, the issue of innovation. I think this is a business opportunity to any Kenyan who is listening to this particular conversation. A flow meter cannot be costing 25 million shillings. It just means that there could be some monopolies in that particular sector that is against the price so that they maximize on the returns. And therefore, if you're able to have cheaper alternatives, then that will be the best for the country.
Members, I now put the question, therefore, that the new clause 40, the new clause, we will have to make progress. There's a chance, order, there's a chance for you to contribute in the next phase of this. I put the question that the new clause 41A be out a second time. Will ask another opinion say aye? Will ask another opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that the new clause 41A be part of the bill. Honorable Thuku, quickly.
Chair, thank you. On the same issue, you see, who is the merchant of these flow meters? Because this pertinent question that has been asked. Are there no cheaper meters, flow meters for the same? Chair, we have been using stamp duties. Where are we moving? Is it that we cannot enhance that technology as opposed now to this kind of investment that is proposed? Because honestly, if you're talking about
what is proposed,
the flow meter,
they're removing it. They're not introducing it.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, we would wish to know. We have installed this accessible goods management system. There's an installation in KRA of accessible goods management system. Why can't we just enhance that system instead of bringing in new amendment into the same? I think we need to relook deeper into this issue. We may not get a foolproof system whereby now we are going to account for all the methanol or ethanol that has gotten into some industry or factory, and therefore I think to some extent I have reservation on this one.
Honorable Kaluma, quickly.
Yeah, Chair, I'm just seeking a clarification. I understand the flow meter, and I would request the majority leader to listen to me, to be a requirement.
It's not the move of this.
It's a requirement, Chair, so that you regulate the amount of these alcoholic products you unleash to the market, and to enable also the distillers to account for whatever they produce and unleash. And so there is a social good that it is playing. To date, I understand the chair to be saying that we want to create a pathway around which even distillers who have not installed the so-called flow meter can operate. That is what I understand him to be saying. And if that is the direction, then number one, I will oppose this provision. Because number two, for that to settle good, that we need to regulate what is going and account for them around alcohol. The reason as to why we impose, excise, tax. But for the other reason, Chair, that we will be creating disparities. Some people have incurred costs, installed these flow meters. You are allowing others to enter the market without installing them. But ultimately, I wanted to make something which I'm making as the last point, Chair, if you would permit. Chair, when you come with a finance bill, there is the amount of money you target to raise. So unless we are explaining the amount of money we are costing the government in terms of revenue loss, we should not accept amendments.
All members, I put the question, therefore, that the new clause 41A be part of the bill. Will ask another opinion say aye? Will ask another opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clauses 42A, 42B, and 42C.
Honorable members. Honorable Chair, move these three clauses for second reading.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 42A, 42B, and 42C be now read a second time. So, Honorable Chair, 42A and 41 and 42. So, 42A is seeking to impose a 5% excess duty on amounts deposited in a customer's wallet. And this amendment is seeking to impose excess on fees charged on transaction by virtual asset providers. So, two things. When you're placing a bet, the current acquisition regime is, say you have money on your mobile wallet, whether it's M-Pesa or Airtel Money. And then you transfer that money to the wallet of the betting company. So the time of charging of excise duty is when you place a bet, when that money already is placed in the wallet of the betting institution. Now we are changing that to now making this excise duty to be payable when you transfer money from your mobile wallet to the betting company wallet. So this has this impact. There are so many institutions that operate virtually, for example, in the country, and therefore we're not able to get this excess duty from them. But now it means that every time you transfer money from their mobile wallet to the wallet of the betting company, then that is a time when excess duty is paid. And secondly is, again, as a question amendment to what we provided earlier on excess duty now being paid for virtual assets on transaction fee and not the transaction amount. 42B is defining the term amount deposited in the customer's wallet, as I have explained. And 42C is again as a constitutional amendment that I had spoken to earlier about accessible services offered by Kenya Defence Forces Welfare Services. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Members, I propose the question that the new clauses 42A, 42B, and 42C be now read a second time.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, 42C talks about the Defence Forces welfare again. And I was, even though we supported the earlier amendment, I know, Honorable Chairperson, these things we used to call kafoka out there, they are not exclusive. When they are in the barracks, they are somewhat exclusive because for you to access them, you have to go through some vetting. So when they're out there, and anybody can access them, I'm wondering whether we will not be causing market imbalances. Because imagine, Honorable Chairperson, you have your own restaurant in a town, and you have one in your town, and they're enjoying these tax benefits. It means their prices are going to be cheaper and all that. So even though we are supporting, I think we need to be a bit cautious to ensure that we don't cause market imperfections and then end up killing some business in the locality.
Thank you. Well, members, I now propose the question that the new clauses 42A, 42B, and 42C be read a second time. Will last minute of opinion say aye? And last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I propose the question, members, that the new clauses 42A, 42B, and 42C be part of the bill. I put the question that the new clauses 42A, 42B, and 42C be part of the bill. Will last minute of opinion say aye? And last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Provisions relating to the Tax Procedure Act, Cap 469B, clauses 43, 44, 45, and 46.
Members, I propose a question that clauses 43, 44, 45, and 46 part of the bill. There being no amendments to those clauses, members, I put the question that clauses 43, 44, 45, 46 be part of the bill. Will last minute of opinion say aye? Last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 47.
I propose the question that clause 47 is part of the bill. Chairperson, clause 47.
42D. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 47 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is seeking to remove the restriction from appealing. So, Honorable Chair, this clause 47 is again one of the clauses that was highly contested during public participation. Because when you go to, when you appeal, for example, for your tax, you're given a tax assessment and then you go to appeal to it, then this particular proposal was requiring for you to pay, this particular provision currently disallows KRA from issuing an agency notice where you have appealed the decision for your assessment by KRA. But now, Treasury was seeking to delete that clause, which means that once you've been issued with an assessment, even before you appeal, then they could issue an agency notice to you. So we agree with the members of the public, and that's why we are proposing to delete this particular clause.
All members, I propose the question that clause 47 be amended as proposed by the chair. I put the question that clause 47 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will last minute of opinion say aye? Last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 47 as amended be part of the bill. Will last minute of opinion say aye? Last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clauses 48 and 49.
All members, clauses. I propose the question that clauses 47, 48, and 49 be part of the bill. These ones have no amendments, members. I therefore put the question that clauses 48 and 49 be part of the bill. Will last minute of opinion say aye? And last minute of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 50.
Members, I propose the question that clause 50 part of the bill. Honorable Chair, you got an amendment to clause 50.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 50 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is seeking to allow for offset of value-added tax payable on imports. So, Honorable Chair, this again came from public participation from especially our manufacturers that said, when they import raw materials for value addition, and those raw materials are subject to VAT, then they are not being allowed to claim that input VAT on the imports, Honorable Chair, when they are computing their output tax. And therefore, we agreed with the manufacturers so that we try to grow our manufacturing sector, and that's the import of this particular amendment, Honorable Chair.
Remember, I propose a question that clause 50 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 50. Chairman Budget, what is itching you?
Chairman, I want to oppose that amendment.
Which one?
That amendment where we are zero rating the raw materials.
Go ahead.
Chairman, okay, I wanted to make an observation, Chairman, even before we go on. That point which was raised by Kaluma, where we are questioning zero rating of some of or most of these items.
There's no Kaluma in this house, member. Is this
Honorable Kaluma?
It is Honorable
Kaluma. Honorable Kaluma, I would like to ask my counterpart, the Chairman of Finance, that at least we really quantify some of these things. I want to know the implication of the amendments in terms of revenue losses. I would like, Chairman, that we go that direction so that any amendment that is brought before us, if it has an impact on raising revenue or lowering or cutting revenue, we need to know. Because otherwise, Honorable Chair, I'm going to move the appropriations bill here. And you will see, Honorable Chair, that one of the struggles we are going to face is on revenue-raising measures. So I would like you to, through your chair, to help us count for the amendments and what impact do they have in terms of revenue-raising.
Now, I'm going to allow Chair to respond to that, but only on this clause. On any other clauses, I will request the Chair of Finance and the Chair Budget to sit and speak together. We can't have this on the floor of the House. It never happens. It's never happened. I won't allow it to happen. Chair Finance and Chair Budget must consult before any of this. So, okay, the Honorable Member for Cases, what is out of order? Before you respond, Chair.
No, I just wanted to support my chair by informing you that we've taken care of that, okay, as you've advised accordingly. Okay. Being a member of the committee.
Chair Finance. Chair Finance.
So Honorable Chair, I totally understand where the Chair of Budget Committee is speaking from. But we must desist from using the finance bill as just a tool for raising revenue. The finance bill should inform policy for our country. And for this, our committee has stood aground on several matters. We have a national tax policy that informs that we must have consistent laws and consistent legislation. We granted some of these exemptions in December. 4 months, 5 months later, we are taking back what we said. Welcome to our country. Go invest in a company in Siaya, in Homa Bay. You'll get investment deduction if you invest outside Nairobi and Mombasa. Someone took a loan of 10 billion and is setting up a factory in Homa Bay, a factory in Siaya, a factory in Nakuru. 6 months later, you're telling no. Because we're going to lose revenue here, you cannot continue to invest there. We must be consistent. There are 2 ways of collecting revenue. You can extrapolate and say, if you delete this, this is how much you lose. It is true. For example, the reintroduction of investment deduction for investment outside Nairobi and Mombasa would definitely lead to a consequential, the foregone taxes that we might have collected. But what is the far-reaching effect? That company sets up in Nakuru, in Siaya, in Kisumu, in Homa Bay, in Samburu, will employ people, they are going to pay as you want. Will make a profit, they are going to pay corporation tax. We must not be short-sighted in views of looking for numbers at the expense of making our country competitive globally.
Okay, but I advise that Chair Budget and Chair Finance, I order that you and the Chair Budget must consult so that we don't have this kind of a situation again. I want to put the question. But we're not doing policy. Go ahead. No, I don't want debate on these matters. The Honorable Member for Seme.
Chair, what we are listening to is a very, very major policy issue. When the finance bill comes to us, it follows the budget. So the budget has been read, and we know we are going to raise so much revenue. The finance bill is the mechanism for raising that revenue. And one would expect that there was an earlier consideration, and that is how we reached this finance bill, so that we'll raise that revenue. If now comes out that actually there was no consultation earlier, so that the chair of finance and the chair of the budget don't agree, then we are not sure what you are saying, that in the future, we are actually going to have a problem with our revenue.
Thank you. The member for Odhaya.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Chair Finance. Chair, the same way, what the chair is saying is there people have already started investing because of the relief that of taxes. The same way, can he protect the people who have invested here? You are the levy, people have borrowed money, have invested, have planned to do business, then you are the levy. The plan which was there was based by the policy of the country. And then, when you have started doing business, already you have invested, you have planned, you have consulted, you have already bought the machine, you are the levy without consulting the country. You are killing the people, the same thing you are protecting those people you are investing today. Protect the same people, Chair Finance. The people who have invested, the people who have already invested, before you had the policy, shake those people first.
Thank you. The Honorable Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Chair,
this is the last word on this.
Chair, I think that matter is more or less settled between the two chairs. But I just want to say, we should not be worried. This is the beauty of democracy. The chair finance is protecting his staff. The chair budget is protecting the expenditure side. Just the revenue mobilizer is protecting the revenue mobilization. And I know the chair budget also has a stake in the revenue that is raised, because he will not expend anything without the revenue being raised by Honorable Kimani. However, the two of them, the two chairs, have one common person between them, which is the National Treasury, that now will balance the expenditure side and the revenue side. So we shouldn't be worried.
And they serve one country. I propose the question, honorable members. I put the question, honorable members, that I put the question. I now put the question. There is nothing questionable about this. No, order. Let me listen to Honorable Kaluma. Let me listen to you. Just get your point first, but Kaluma. Honorable Kaluma, can you raise your point?
Kaluma, you have the microphone.
It's not going anywhere.
Honorable Speaker.
It wasn't your chance, Honorable Mili. It was not your chance.
Honorable Chair, I'm standing under the provisions of Article 114, sub-Article 2.
Order, members, order. Honorable Kaluma, you have 1 minute to prosecute this.
No, but Chair,
no,
there
go ahead.
are consultations
go
in front of me.
Go ahead. You were part of that consultation.
Why don't you give me order?
You were part of this 30 seconds.
I was not.
Order, members. Go ahead.
Yes. I thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, my position is that the finance bill is a money bill under Article 114. And the finance bill having been brought, the requirement of sub-Article 2 is that if any amendments are to be proposed, the concurrence or consultation of the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary must be sought. Could we have confirmation that that happened now that the Chair of Budget and Appropriation and the Chair in charge of Finance and National Planning are
Thank
appearing
you.
not to be in agreement.
Thank you.
Yes.
A very simple matter, Honorable Kaluma. That is not for this House to decide. These amendments we're prosecuting were approved by the Speaker of this House. That is the only confirmation you need, and you have the confirmation. I now put the question, members, that clause 50 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 52.
Members, I propose the question that clause 52 part of the bill. Sorry, members, just 1 minute, Honorable Chair. Clause 51 first.
Yeah, clause 51.
I propose the question that clause 51 is part of the bill. Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, beg to remove that clause 51 be amended as per the order paper. Clause 51 of the bill be amended in the proposed subsection 7b by deleting the words computed and subbing therefore with the words computed from. This amendment, Honorable Chair, is just a cleanup.
Members, I propose the question that clause 51 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I put the question that clause 51 be amended as proposed by the Chair. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. And I put the question that clause 51 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinions say aye? Will as many other opinions say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 52.
Members, I propose the question that clause 52 be deleted. Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 52 be deleted as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, clause 52, as in the bill, was reads as follows: Section 59A of the Tax Procedures Act amended by deleting subsection 1B. So, Honorable Chair, this is a discussion that came from public and intense public participation, and I want to bring to the comfort of this House and to the members of the public, this is one of the areas that we debated a lot as a committee, and we agreed that we cannot allow, Honorable Speaker, this amendment, and therefore we are proposing its deletion. This was a proposal that was now removing the restriction. And Honorable Chair, allow me just to take 3 minutes to take you through this proposal.
You have one.
Section 59A of the Tax Procedures Act reads as follows: Data management and reporting system. The commissioner may establish a data management and reporting system for the submission of electronic documents, including detailed transaction data relating to the documents. Then 1A, that the commissioner may by notice in writing require permission to integrate the electronic tax system authorized under section 75 to the system referred to in subsection 1 of the for the purpose of submission of electronic documents, including detailed transaction data in the precise form. So this therefore means, Honorable Chair, that the commissioner has powers to require you to integrate your system with that of Kenya Revenue Authority. However, in the wisdom of this House, it provided for another section 1B, which reads as follows: the commissioner shall not, know the words, shall not require a person to integrate or share data relating to A, trade secrets, and B, private or personal data held on behalf of the customers or collected in the course of business. Now, this clause 52 was proposed to delete 59(1)B, which was now excluding that when you are integrate, that the commissioner will not require you to integrate data relating to 1, trade secrets, and 2, private and personal data. All the members of the public that appeared before us said that that provision needs to be deleted. Okay. And we agree with the members of the public that this particular provision be deleted. It goes against our constitutional right to privacy and goes even against our other laws on data, on data and privacy, Honorable Chair.
Members, I propose the question, therefore, that clause 52 be deleted. I put the question that clause 52 be deleted. Last many other opinions say aye. Last many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 53.
Members, I propose the question that clause 53 be part of the bill. Because there's no amendment on it, I put the question that clause 53 be part of the bill. Last many other opinions say aye. Last many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 54.
I propose the question of members that the clause 54 be deleted.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 54 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, the tax amendment, again, the tax procedures amendment bill, act now, or bill that we did in this Chair, sought to exclude weekends and public holidays when calculating time. Now, the Treasury now wanted to bring back the issue that of not excluding weekends and weekdays and public holidays in calculation of time. We disagree with National Treasury and agree with the members of the public that we need to exclude weekends and public holidays in calculation of the time when you're supposed to either reply to the commissioner or submit particular data to KRA.
Thank you. All members, I propose the question that clause 54 be deleted. I now put the question that clause 4 be deleted. As many of the opinion say aye. And as many of the court of opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clauses 55 and 56.
All members, I propose that clauses 55 and 56 be part of the bill. Because there are no amendments there, members, I put the question that clauses 55 and 56 part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
New clause 42D.
Honorable Chair, move clause 42D for second reading.
Clause
42D. The new clause 42D for second reading.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 42D be now read a second time. So, Honorable Chair, this clause is seeking to define what we are calling certificate of origin. So, Honorable Chair, this is meant to cure a mischief that happens. So, when some goods are being imported into the country, they are declared as raw materials. Honorable Chair, only for you to realize they are actually finished products. And a good example has been in edible oils, where some scrupulous business people have been importing edible oils as a finished product, but declaring it as a semi-processed or raw material, Honorable Chair. And therefore, this has led to a lot of leakage in terms of our revenue, Honorable Speaker. So we are now requiring that during, Honorable Chair, the leader of majority party is naming some names, which I want to request to him to adhere to our standing orders when they need to name names in this house, Honorable Chair. So this now will require them that they must present a document from the certificate of origin certified by credible institutions to show what cargo is coming to this country. And this will cure now the issue of misdeclaration at our points of entry, Honorable Chair. I beg to...
All members, I propose the question therefore, that the new clause 42D be now read a second time. The Honorable Owundo.
Chair, I strongly support with this amendment. And this, Chair, is also trying to enhance the amendments that we did on the Business Laws Bill in December that made amendments to the Standards Act on the issuance of certificate of origin. Secondly, Chair, it also cures a very interesting mischief, whereby, and this, Chair, I say so, we have been interacted with this SEPA between Kenya and UAE, United Arab Emirates. The fear is that we are going to have those countries that don't manufacture anything as conduits to bring goods manufactured elsewhere to flood our market. So insisting on certificate of origin means that we must confirm if you are importing, that product must have been manufactured in that country.
Thank you.
It's not on transit.
Honorable Nkatha. Oh, remember, I cannot see your card. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. For us to support our local manufacturers, I support this amendment by the Chair, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Kaluma, what's that?
Let me support this amendment. Chair, these are the kinds of amendments we need in the finance bill. We are losing a lot. And so one of the reasons why we have this finance bill this year is to entrench tax efficiency and accountability.
Thank you.
And this is one such provision. And Chair, let me thank you
since you allowed us to intervene, the chair is now explaining these things in the details that
Thank you
enables
so
the
much,
country
all members.
to get them.
I now put the question that the new clause 42D be now read a second time. Last many of the opinion say aye. Last many of the opinion say nay. Ayes have it. I propose the question, members, that the new clause 42D be part of the bill. I now put the question that the new clause 42D be part of the bill. Will last many of that opinion say aye? Last many of the opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 49A.
Honorable Chair, move the new clause 49A for second reading.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 49A be now read a second time. Again, this is bringing even more clarity to the issue that I spoke earlier, that is providing for the details that should be provided for in the certificate of origin, which includes the following: name and address of the exporter, name and address of the importer, port of origin, accurate description of the goods, keyword here, accurate, quantity of the goods, country of origin and country of destination. And we are saying that any person who contravenes this provision commits an offense and shall have their goods seized or forfeited to the commissioner or another officer in accordance with this act. Honorable Speaker, this amendment is seeking to provide clear details of what are you importing, so that we avoid this issue of some manufacturers importing finished products in this country, declaring them as raw materials, getting exemptions only for them to just repackage them and sell them like they are manufacturing in our country. I beg to move on, Honorable Chair.
All members, I propose a question. Order. I propose a question that the new clause 49A be now read a second time.
Thank you, Chair. This is a very important amendment. Actually, not just for manufacturers to declare what it is that they are importing. COC is a very important document, even in terms of making sure that substandard stuff is not imported into this country. Therefore, I really support this amendment, and I believe it's in force only that now these details have not been well captured. Now that the details are captured, we are going to rid off any kind of substandard importations.
Thank you. This requires very keen eyes in implementation. All members, I therefore put the question that the new clause 49A be now read a second time. Will last minute opinion say aye? Will last minute the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. I propose the question therefore, members, that the new clause 49A be part of the bill. I put the question that the new clause 49A be part of the bill. Will last minute of opinion say aye? Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Provisions relating to the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act, Cap 496C, Clause 57.
Members, I propose that Clause 57 be part of the bill, and there's no amendment to it, so I put the question that that Clause 47 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 58.
Well, members, I propose the question that Clause 58 be part of the bill. Chair, your amendment to this?
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that Clause 58 be amended as per the order paper. This speaks to the earlier discussion that we had about mosquito repellents, exempting them now from IDF and RDL. And these are raw materials that will be used for the manufacture of mosquito repellents in our country.
All members, I order. All members, I propose the question that Clause 58 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I now put the question that Clause 58 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the court opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that Clause 58 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the court opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 59.
Oh, members, I propose the question that Clause 59 be part of the bill. Chair. Chair, Clause 59.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that Clause 59 be amended as per the order paper. This is providing for the different rates for export and promotion levy. Again, matters that are meant to to promote our local manufacturing. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Members, I propose the question that clause 59 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 59 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that clause 59 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
New clause 56A.
Honorable members, I now call the chair to move the new clause 56A for second reading. Yes, there's a new clause 56A on page 1655.
Thank you. So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 56A be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, this is a provision that, again, we had in the Finance Bill of 2024 that was seeking to ring-fence 10% of money collected through the Miscellaneous and Levies Act to be used for the digitalization of services at the Kenya Revenue Authority, Honorable Chair. One of the things, Honorable Chair, that you may realize, and even to the issue that we've spoken earlier, that we're now amending the Tax Procedures Act to require some particular details on the certificate of origin, is when goods arrive in our points of entry, there is now that form that we fill, the CIF that we fill, showing I've imported goods of this particular description. But, Honorable Chair, it takes a manual inspection comparing what the importer has filled in their documentation and looking at the physical good to verify if the two details match. Honorable Chair, at the time, and I'm happy that this House was having a discussion in the morning about artificial intelligence, during at a time when we have such technologies, including AI, it's important that some of these particular services be digitalized so that it's not a manual confirmation of what someone has declared and, again, the goods, because, again, these are some of the revenue leakages that you've seen that is leading to a lot of revenue, Honorable Chair. I beg to move.
Members, I propose the question that the new clause 56A be now read a second time. Members, I put the question that the new clause 56A be now read a second time. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I propose the question that the new clause 56A be part of the bill. Yes, Honorable Makali Mulu.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Even as I support this, Honorable Chairman, I'm a bit concerned that we are creating an additional fund. You know, these funds, they have become so many in this country, and some have outlived their usefulness. How I wish we could reduce creation of more funds, because issues of accountability when it comes to a fund, Mr. Chairman, becomes very tricky.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
So, Honorable Chair, I'd like to give comfort to my senior, Dr. Makali Mulu, that this particular provision is not creating an additional fund. And among the people at the floor of this House who has been very vocal on this, that we need to rethink about the many funds that we have in this country. So the only thing that this is doing, as we speak, KRA collects taxes on behalf of government. So these monies are banked at the Central Bank of Kenya. But for KRA to expense on the approved expenditures, they have to rely on exchequer, just like all the other entities. And you've seen situations where even insurance, medical insurance for staff of the authority have been cancelled because they're not able to pay on time. So we are creating just a little ring-fencing that they can, enhancing their A&A, Honorable Chair, so that at least they have some leeway, even when they are not, there are delays in exchequer, Honorable Chair, so that they are able now to move forward, Honorable Chair. I beg.
Thank you.
To
The Honorable
inform
Member,
the Honorable Dr. Makalimu.
the Honorable Buchomba.
Chair, in as much as I support the reinvesting of some money so that we can be able to be a bit more efficient, I'm just concerned that this is also a creation of a new expenditure. Because you know, every fund that we create requires a secretariat or a board to manage the fund. So are we not worried that we are looking for money? Yes, we are raising money and revenue, but we are creating an expenditure. So I have my reservations, Chair.
The Honorable Makalimu.
You know, Mr. Chairman, what the chairman is explaining makes a lot of sense. But what is it on this bill? He says shall be paid into a fund established and managed. So unless what he's saying is not what is in the bill, that's why I was raising this matter, that if he was talking about ring-fencing the resources, I have no problem. But we are establishing a fund, Mr. Chairman, as per this amendment.
The Honorable Mayaka.
Chair, I think maybe, and I hope the Chair Finance is listening, maybe the thing that Chair Finance should do for us is give us a cost-benefit analysis that explains creating this fund versus what is being lost without it, and ring-fencing this amount so that we can understand where this is coming from. Because this could be one of those costs that you incur costs, but for a specific benefit, or the other way around. So maybe we need to understand the cost-benefit analysis.
Honorable Mboko.
The chair has to explain, because he's creating a fund and he's not saying who is going to manage that fund. And therefore that will become another loophole of the same monies that we want to protect for government use. And I think, again, just like we dealt with the other clause, which he did withdraw, it's very important he clarifies creating of this fund. Remember, we had gone slow on creation of funds and such like organizations, and who is managing it? So it is dangerous for ourselves and the operations of government.
Thank you. The member for Homa Bay Town.
Yeah, Chair, we have a budget of over 4 trillion, and that budget, the revenue for it is mainly to be collected by Kenya Revenue Authority. By practice and by international, practice, the revenue authorities are usually to be budgeted about between 1.5 to 2% of the revenue. Now, because of our fiscal space, Chair, we are giving them far, far less. So the request that KRA made, and we are hailing by this, to enable them more efficiently raise revenue and collect revenue to fund the budget, is that we ring-fence a portion of the monies. It is just an A in A, but we are calling it going into a fund to be managed by them for purposes of their work.
Thank you.
And if that happens, we will get more revenue in the process. If you just left it that it is an A in A, accountability issues arise and it becomes very difficult.
Thank you.
So I would urge that we support this provision.
Member for Chairperson. Chairperson, go ahead.
So maybe if I could, and thank you, honorable members, for raising your concerns. Just to give clarity to what this is, if you read the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act, Part 3 on imposition of levies and fees, 7, there shall be a fee to be known as the import declaration fee on all goods imported into the country for home use. So if you check now 2A, 5, an importer shall present 6. Out of the fee collected under subsection 2, 10% shall be paid to into a fund established and managed according to the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A. 7, the monies in the fund under subsection 6 shall be used for the payment of Kenya's contribution to the African Union and other international organizations to which Kenya has a financial obligation. So there already exists a fund where, as you speak, 10% of monies collected as import declaration fee goes into to pay for foreign obligations, correct, including the African Union and other international obligations. So what you are saying, into these funds, is an ring-fence of an additional 10% that now will go into reinforcing the digitalization of operations within the Kenya Revenue Authority. So there is no creation of an additional fund. We're just saying that where these monies are going to pay international obligations, can we also have some operations that goes now to digitizing these particular services that are done by KRA? And remember, we are coming from a point where we have no fiscal space, to fund some of these expenditures, Honorable Chair, by the authority.
Thank you. Thank you. Just for clarity, Chair, they currently get 10% of this fund, right? Yes. No, Chair. Okay, Chair budget.
I wanted to say just something. Chair, the amendment is good, but we have the potential of giving KRA resources they don't need. Because when we were doing the budgets, KRA appeared before us through the Finance Committee, and they never told us that KRA needs excessive amounts of money, Mr. Chairman. So I think what the Chairman needs to do is to tell us what will be the amount of these resources. And KRA is well funded, Mr. Chairman. Under my leadership, KRA is well funded to collect resources, to collect taxes. So unless we know this 10% will be how much money. Thank you.
Now, I said it, and I think this should be the last time. Chair Budget and Chair Finance, this is a spectacle that is never seen in Parliament at this stage. You should avoid it in future. Member for Keses.
Thank you, Chair. I want to liken this particular discussion with a farmer, the traditional farmer who uses oxen to plow. At most of the time, when a farmer uses oxen to plow, the farmer always reserves the produce to feed back the oxen to give back the energy. What we are saying here for Kenya Revenue, that is an entity that has been tasked to mobilize and collect resources to finance our budget. What they are just asking is, because of the dynamic nature of the systems and technology in the world, they are always found on the side that they don't have ability to adjust and ensure that they onboard technology that is able to move with the systems and enhance their collection and effectiveness. What is the loss or what is the cost for us to allow only 2% to retain from this idea?
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Lesuda.
Thank you, Chairman. Having listened to the Chairman Finance, I'm convinced it's not a fund. It is for a specific issue. My question is, will you digitize forever? Does this thing have a time frame? Because of the amount, first we need to know how much, and we need, and Honorable Kaluma should declare his interest here as he walks around. We need to know how much that 10% is, because when you come before the budget committee, you explain this is what we need and for this. So will this run in eternity? Because it needs to have a time frame. After digitizing, you need to stop the collecting of that money.
As the chair gets his answer, Honorable Thuku.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is a very pertinent question that is being raised by members. Because you see, ring fencing and expenditure that is known, like digitization. The other one is our obligations, international obligations. These are expenditures that are known. They can be quantified, and therefore we do not need to ring fence. Let KRA come before the budget committee and say, this is the much we want, and the same be appropriated through this house.
Thank you. Member for Dagoretti North.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, it's not that we are really hard on our finance chair. But then, you see, when you have monies ring-fenced for AU, Chair, which in this house you can create a vote for all international organizations. We have IALA, we have, why AU and leave IALA then? Because they are all those organizations. It means IALA has a vote. The African Union can get out of here. In fact, they are not supposed to be here. They should be under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, honestly, Chair. That is how we budget, and then we find ourselves in a bad crisis.
Honorable Chair, Finance.
Honorable Chair, I think this is the beauty, some of the beauties of democracy in this, engaging this very good debate. So, Honorable Chair, and I can understand where the Chair for Budget is speaking from. But now, unfortunately...
Honorable Kaluma and Honorable Tan, you must listen to the Chair Finance.
So, unfortunately, he just became a Chair of Budget the other day. So, and he doesn't... he aggregates the whole budget. The state departments around National Treasury, including KRA, is an entity that is oversighted by the Committee of Finance and National Planning. And I dare say, Honorable Chair, hold your horses, Honorable Atandi. I'll explain to you.
You're going to have a chance.
Resource requirements, the resource requirement for Kenya Revenue Authority is 56 billion as per their presentation before our committee. KRA does not present to budget committee, they present to the Committee of Finance and National Planning because we're the ones who is the department committee. Out of this 56 billion, we were only able to accommodate 32 billion shillings. And they're telling us, you want to give us roles to go and raise revenue. Yet, we don't even have our own medical insurance. And unfortunately, after I had a discussion with the chair budget, I said, where can we raise an additional 20 billion? There was no fiscal space. The KRA Act, Honorable Chair, provides that KRA shall be funded up to 2% of their collection. As we speak, this particular budget, which is the estimates that we're going to discuss tomorrow on the appropriations, only gives them 1.02%, against even what is recommended by law of around 2%. In fact, one of the recommendations that we're receiving from public participation is maybe we need to make the 2.5%, the 2%, at least 2% and not up to 2%. We have an entity, Honorable Chair, that we require to raise revenue for this country. For the last 10 years, there has never been a salary adjustment for any of those staff. These are the same staff we are sending to do an assessment on a taxpayer who has an assessment of 100 million shillings. What are you telling them? They have not had a salary increase for the last 10 years. They do not have a medical insurance that if they get sick, they can't go to the hospital. And there are people you are sending them to taxpayer. That's why we are saying there is no fiscal space to do that. That is why we are saying, Honorable Chair, can we have creative ways of funding these particular entities without increasing taxation? And this is one of the proposals that this proposal is seeking to do, Honorable Chair.
Okay, this is done. Honorable Atandi, the last word on this so that we
Chair, the chair of finance is my friend, and when we joined Parliament, we sat with him in the Finance Committee. And I understand the explanation he's giving us towards justifying this particular fund for KRA. Honorable Chair, you are a member of Budget Committee. When the chairman came before us to defend his budget, departmental budgets, he never told us that KRA needs such amount of money. That did not come. I can even produce the answer. And Chair, if it is a matter of KRA sorting out the issues to do with KRA staff in terms of their staff increases, salary increases, that we can do, Chairman, and that we have done, and you know we have done that. Chairman, I'm of the view that if we are to give blanket, allocation to KRA, this is something that other government agencies will also want. And I don't think we want to do it. Let us collect taxes and put it in one basket, and people who want that money come to Budget Committee, defend themselves, and then we give them the money. This is a very bad precedent. Members, I would like you to reject this particular amendment. Thank you.
This will then go either way, members. I therefore put the question that the new clause 57, the new clause 56A, be now read a second time. Will ask many of that opinion say aye? Will ask many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Oh, members, I propose order. Order. Oh, members, I propose the question that the new clause 56A be part of the bill. I now put the question that the new clause 56A be part of the bill. Will ask many of the opinion say aye? Will ask many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Are you rising for a division, Honorable Suda? Are you getting the numbers? Next clause.
Provisions relating to the Stamp Duty Act, Cap 480, Clause 60.
Oh, members, I propose a question that Clause 60 be part of the bill. And because there's no amendment, I put the question that Clause 60 be part of the bill. Will ask another opinion say aye? Will ask another opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Title.
Members, I propose a question that the title be the title of the bill. I now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Because it's no amendment, I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Chairperson. Chairperson to move for reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its question of the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2025, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, I put the question that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2025, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Members, the next bill in the order paper for the Committee of the Whole House this afternoon, or this evening, is the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Bill, Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023.
Order members, we proceed to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, and we are in the committee of the whole House.
Clause 3.
Where is the chair? Same. So, Chair, you will still have to proceed. Very well, we begin with the clause 3. I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. There being no amendments, I now put the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Chair.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 4 be amended as per the order paper. This proposal is seeking to delete a redundant words and provisions contained in the National Council for Population Development Order 2004. I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Very well. I now propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. I'll take it again. I now propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair.
Put the question.
I now put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.